In Japan, after Fukushima, localization may not seem like the best alternative, but fundamentally, localization is about that reconnection to other people and establishing a link between production and consumption. So I hope that people will link together in community groups, creating small co-ops where they connect to producers as close to home as possible. But by connecting together, you should have the resources to be able to test carefully the food that you're getting. It costs money to do that, which is why it's so important not to remain an isolated consumer, but to become a community group, a co-op, and establish a direct relationship with producers or very small middlemen, and ensure that you're able to properly test the food. For a while now, the food will probably have to come from further away, maybe even beyond Japan. And as people focus more and more on food and farming, which we must do, there will be the labor and the help to rebuild healthy soils, to do the testing, and to use all the means possible to create a healthy food economy in Japan. For years now, we've been trying to raise awareness about the fact that this dominating corporate economy is separating people worldwide further and further from the sources of their food. And by destroying farming, pushing 99% of the population away from food production. We urgently need to shift in exactly the opposite direction. More of us need to focus on the production of food. It's the only thing human beings produce that we all need every single day of our lives. So to have a system that separates us further and further from that, and which reduces the numbers day by day who are engaged in the production, is insanity. So localization has at its very core the re-establishment of healthy food production, the retraining into a diversity of more locally adapted products, plants, animals, fishery, forestry, orchards, all of this, the revitalization of those healthy food economies is a priority. But there are already now also local business alliances, virtually every kind of business, where people realize the need to reconnect with human-scale businesses that are able to operate in a slower and in a more localized way, producing the things that we really need in a way that provides satisfaction both for the producer and the consumer. So there is emerging business alliances as part of the local economy. There is also local banking, which now more and more people realize, especially in America, that smaller local banks and credit unions are able to provide for the needs of their community in a sustainable and healthy way, not speculating in toxic debt as the large banks have done. With all of this, it's tremendously important that we start taking some action. But it's equally important that we see education as activism, that we inform ourselves and others so that we can create a critical mass of people who will be able to insist on policy change. If we focus on all of those people who are already demonstrating that they care about the future of their children, that they care about the health of the natural world, we will realize that there are a very large number of people who have energy, who have wisdom, who have funding. I believe it's absolutely crucial that we help these diverse groups who may be focusing on unemployment and poverty, on depression and anxiety in the youth, on the plight of the dolphins, on the plight of the trees, on the loss of healthy drinking water. All of these specific symptoms are being treated as separate and independent. It is so important that we see them as linked to the economy, to the economic system, and to the giantism that is a structural problem. It's not a problem of bad people versus good people. It's a structural problem. It's a problem of scale. And that scale is linked to very narrow, reductionist thinking, specialized thinking. And this is partly why our leaders cannot see what they're doing, and partly why we are not getting the information we need. The holistic, comprehensive understanding of what's going on in Japan, but also what's going on in Africa, in China. When we see more globally and more holistically, it becomes very clear. Moving towards TPP is a giant step in the wrong direction, moving in exactly the opposite direction. Decentralizing, breaking up, scaling down banking and business is the key to a healthy future for ourselves, our children, and nature. It's the key to democracy and to having a way in which all of us have a voice and a more secure identity as we feel connected to people around us. We feel connected to all life. We develop a wisdom and a tolerance. And again, it does help us to feel joy and meaning in our lives. So the economics of happiness is the economics of localization.